French investigators have released the final report on the crash of Germanwings Flight 9525. It reveals a doctor suggested co-pilot Andreas Lubitz be treated in a psychiatric hospital just 2 weeks before the disaster, and recommends lifting medical confidentiality for pilots with psychological disorders. The report also confirms that Lubitz intentionally locked the captain out of the cockpit so he could crash the plane into the French Alps last March, killing all 150 people on board. For more on this report, let's bring in our senior international correspondent, Fred Pleitgen, who joins us live from London. Fred, some strong recommendations have been made, particularly when it comes to looking at a pilot's mental health.
Yeah, exactly. A pilot's mental health and sort of seeing the signs of possible mental problems that could become relevant for airline safety. I actually have the report right here. And if you look at it, it first of all lists how this accident happened, but then very quickly goes into what made it happen, particularly the medical confidentiality that you've already mentioned. One of the recommendations that it makes is that it believes there needs to be a new rebalancing between confidentiality between a doctor and his patient. Remember that Andreas Lubitz searched 41 different doctors, or went to the doctor 41 different times because of his mental illness, and none of them ever told the authorities because of the confidentiality agreement. The BEA believes that there needs to be a new rebalancing, and that when airline safety is at risk, there need to be new rules so that doctors can notify the authorities and notify the airlines as well. The other thing is that they believe is that pilots who have had mental issues in the past should be checked more often. They say maybe between 3 to 6 months. Right now, there's a pilot medical evaluation that takes place once a year where these questions are asked. The other thing, and I think this is also very important as well, they say one of the things that they believe keeps pilots from sometimes disclosing mental issues is that they believe they're going to lose their job. They're going to lose their ability to fly. And one of the recommendations that this report makes is to mitigate that, to maybe try and transfer these pilots into some different part of the airline where they can still almost make the same amount of money, but they would still be part of the airline industry as a whole, and maybe the threshold for them actually telling their employers what's wrong with them would be a lot less. So most of the recommendations in this report really geared towards discovering psychological problems and dealing with them so they don't become an issue for airline safety.
And Fred, of course, throughout the investigation, Germanwings and its parent company denied any wrongdoing, saying that the co-pilot Lubitz was certified to fly. How have the relatives of those killed reacted to this report?
Certified to, you're absolutely right. Certified to fly, and at very different stages. Once a year, he was certified to fly. There was a caveat that he had that said that he did have mental issues in the past, and that is something that needs to be taken in consideration. The relatives still ask the question, how could someone who has had a history of medical problems that date all the way back to him attending flight school in 2008 and 2009, when he even had to take almost a year off of flight school because of these medical problems, because he was taking antidepressants. How could it have been that yet he did get the certification to fly, and that certification continued to be renewed? The victims' families, or at least a lot of them, in Spain and in Germany did get this report, and they got an evaluation of this report yesterday in these two countries, and a lot of them were not happy with the findings. They say it's still unclear to them how something like this could have gone on for such a long time, even though the airline, of course, says there's no wrongdoing on its part because this man was medically certified to fly by the relevant authorities, Lynda.
Still a lot of questions for those families. Fred Pleitgen in London, thank you very much. Still to come, Donald Trump says he has a plan for protesters and that it will ruin the rest of their lives. After the break, we'll look at how rallies have been going for the Republican frontrunner and the fallout from the chaotic event he cancelled in Chicago.